Hey everybody, it's Allie and welcome to our Y&R chat for Sunday, November 1st, 2015. Hilary is back. She has made a miraculous recovery for Halloween and she's got amnesia. Why didn't I guess? How could I not have predicted that? I mean, I think Y&R was bringing out a lot of soap opera tropes, classic soap opera tropes this week, and amnesia, paralysis, those are all certainly some of them. But I was really happy to see Hilary back finally. I didn't know that this week was going to be the week, so it was a really nice surprise for me to see her awake and looking beautiful and voluptuous, everything perfect, hair perfect, makeup perfect, wandering around the park like a zombie, which was perfect for Halloween. I mean, like, there's like a jogger running by her saying, oh, okay, homeless lady. I mean, she did look like a homeless lady, except for the giant, sparkly, probably $1 million diamond ring is on her finger. Well, she miraculously pops up from her coma due to the good doctor's workings, and she shows up in the park, and who should find her? Kane. And it didn't help him at all. I mean, for crying out loud, Devons is viciously attacking Kane, knowing that he has had something to do with Hilary's disappearance. Devons is absolutely certain of it. Lily is starting to question her husband and what his involvement might be. And the fact, I mean, I knew the second Kane was the one who first laid eyes on her in the park, I thought, this is not gonna be good for him. It's gonna make him look like he was stashing her somewhere, and all of a sudden when it got hot, he had to bring her out to make himself appear like he's the hero. So very, very bad looking for Kane. But I mean, something still is up with Kane. I'm gonna talk more about Hilary in a minute, but can we focus on Kane for just a minute, because something is up. I mean, I guess last week and the week before, I thought maybe it was going to be a black and white thing, as in somebody's just framing Kane, but I just wonder if there's more to it. I feel like maybe the Caleb twin storyline, maybe Y&R's gonna bring up yet another one of these soap opera tropes. Something's just not right there. I think it's an easy answer that Joe Clark is the one who's framing it to make it look like Kane is involved in Hilary's kidnapping. And there was the fight between them this week, by the way, where Daniel Goddard breaks his elbow in the fight. I kept looking to see if maybe it was that take. I'm assuming that he broke the elbow in maybe a separate take, because I didn't sense any horrible pain in the moment when Kane hit Joe. And I would think too that breaking your elbow would be a really painful bone to break. I mean, of all of the places right on a joint, that has got to really, really hurt. And you got to give it up to old DG. He came back into work. He filmed some follow-up scenes that explained why his arm would be in a cast. And I think you could tell that he was genuinely in pain. They showed a follow-up scene of him in the hospital with Neil, and there was something about that performance where the actor seemed like he was genuinely hurting. I just think that's got to be really, really painful for him. And I don't know if he's going to be taking any time off and if that's going to somehow work its way into the story, but the fact that it's causing this major problem in Lily and Kane's relationship is causing a problem for me. I don't know why Lily has switched over onto Devons' side. There are so many other factors going on right now where I think it's kind of obvious, to me anyway, that Kane didn't do this. Whether he's being set up, whether he's being framed, whether there is, whether maybe he is his twin brother Caleb and is actually involved, something's not right. And it's surprising to me that Lily is not standing by her husband, although, by the way, Lily looked OMG amazing in that black and white dress. In fact, for all of the everything this week, Lily gets best everything, best dressed for me for this week. But that black dress with like the snowy white dots on it, oh, it looked so gorgeous with her curly hair. I was really into Lily this week. And I don't want to see Lily and Kane break up over what is going to happen. I think Kane is innocent. And I kind of, again, I think that even though it makes sense that Joe would have been the one who's behind it, because Joe certainly is coming in and picking up all of the spoils and leftovers of the ruins of Lily and Kane's crumbling relationship, but at the same time it feels a little too convenient for me, and it almost seems like Y&R is building up Joe. There was that moment after Kane and Joe had their fight at the athletic club where Lily and Kane are having an argument, and Joe comes up and you think that he's gonna lay into Kane, telling him to take it easy on Lily, but Joe really comes in and he kind of gets in a few jabs at Lily, telling her to take it easy on Kane, and it's like Y&R's trying to make Joe seem like the good guy, and then we have him toward the end of the week at the Halloween party being super supportive of Lily, getting in there, hanging out with the kids, having fun with them. I kind of think maybe Y&R is bringing back Joe just to kill him. We have been talking quite a bit over the past 2 or 3 weeks about the big November sweeps reveal, who's gonna die. It's been said that 4 different characters are gonna die, and I kind of think Joe's one of them, and there is also a part of me that thinks Joe is possibly gonna die trying to save Cain and Lily's kids. Hilary goes to the hospital and no one notices her. In fact, it's weird to me that Hilary was bumbling around town for hours probably, and not one person stopped to actually help her. I mean, she runs into, or she manages to skirt away from Kane when he finds her, manages to skirt away from Gwen when she finds her, and the last person to find her is the doctor, who gives her the old needle in the neck that puts her out, and he just leaves her at the hospital. I mean, she screams out when he needles her and nobody notices. It's just bizarre. I'm kind of impressed with the way that Y&R handled her waking up. It was a long time coming. She said she was in a coma for a while, and it was really dicey. I was not enjoying the story for those couple of weeks, but I do think that they did a nice job in bringing in this doctor to facilitate waking her up. I think that the actor who played the doctor did a really good job, and he did a lot with a very little part. I mean, even in his, the few lines that he had, I think he did a good job of creating the scene and the sense. And what I think Y&R was going for here was kind of a Halloween Dr. Frankenstein sort of vibe. I think it completely worked for the big reveal of her wake up. I think Y&R did it intentionally. It's like Dr. Frankenstein's experiment got out of control. Things didn't go as planned. The monster wakes up, flees the lab. And I got that sense of it, and I thought that was kind of a cool way to do it, especially around Halloween. And now that the experiment has gone out of his control, the doctor, in this case, is ready to leave town. And I'm sad because I kind of wish that doctor would have stuck around a little bit longer. I keep imagining that he would be a really good match for Ashley. Bring that guy back, hook him up with Ashley. Maybe she can loosen him up a little bit, because he's got all his doctor language and he's Mr. Uptight. And I think Ashley could maybe pull some fun out of that guy. Bring him back, Y&R. Bring him back and get rid of Gwen. Gwen is on my nerves this week. I mean, the woman is ready to run to the Maldives with Neil because there's no extradition treaty with the United States. Whoa! Whoa, girl. You really love Neil that much? You're ready to flee the country and never see anyone again of your family or your friends. It's obsessive. There's something not right about Gwen, and I'm starting to see this little look in her eye, and she's making me really suspicious. I can't imagine what she is thinking I think YNR just needs to blow her up or catch her on fire, or maybe Gwen needs to go to the Halloween party, which is sad for me to say because I liked the actress, I liked the potential that the character had, but it's just getting weird now. So Hilary is safe for now. She's in the hospital, she's getting the medical care that she needs, and just as Devon is actually starting to come to terms with the fact that maybe she's died. I mean, with all of these different leads on her whereabouts, the false alarm that she's been found, Devon is kind of coming to the realization that maybe she is dead. There was this very powerful scene where he's saying that to Paul and trying to conceptualize his life without her, trying to think about what her last moments must have been like. Again, kind of a good Halloween sort of story that I think was intentional on YNR's part and which I enjoyed. Just as he's sort of trying to accept that maybe Hilary is dead, word gets out that she's been found, she's in the hospital, she is crying out for her husband. In fact, if YNR was a drinking game and we all had to take a shot for as many times as Hilary was calling out for her husband and as many times as Devon was saying how much he wanted his wife, it was like overkill. Like, looking back on it in retrospect, it's like YNR was really trying to hit the point home for what was about to come. Give me my husband, she's my wife, my husband, my wife. And the second the husband and wife come together, Hilary is backing away from him. Get away from me, I don't know who you are, get him off of me, I want my real husband. And Neil shoots into the room and she embraces him. Oh, Neil, I was calling for my husband and they weren't giving him to me. Which is, again, it was sort of cheesy, and I can't believe that I didn't expect it. It's so obvious that she would have amnesia, and shoot, man, I don't know what this means. The shot of Neil's face as she's embracing him is like, what? What? I don't know. I don't know if there's any chance that Neil's gonna get away with all of this. There has to be a repercussion. But for now, I suppose Neil's secret is safe. The only thing I can think is that Neil, in a twist, is going to be keeping up appearances as Hilary's husband. I mean, remember, Hilary was keeping up appearances with Neil as her husband in order to help him through his blindness and that whole thing. Now I think the tables are turning and Neil is going to have to keep up appearances pretending to be Hilary's husband, but I got a feeling that old crazy Gwen is not going to accept that. I got a feeling that maybe Gwen is going to be the one to blow this lie sky high. I asked a poll question probably 2 months ago. Abby and Stitch, should they make it work or give it up? And 80% of YNR chatters said, give it up. We are not feeling Abby and Stitch. My question for you is, has that changed? Because I do feel mixed. Stitch proposed to Abby this week, and it was a little bit of a hit and miss on the road to get there. Who forgets a wedding ring and a champagne glass? Like, did you see the size of Abby's engagement ring? It was probably like a $10,000 ring, and Stitch forgets it in the champagne glass when word of him being needed at the hospital. He rushes out and forgets the ring in the champagne glass, leaves it for Ashley to find. I can't help but say that there is no amount of emergency or rush that would ever make me leave 10 G's sitting on a table in a public place. He must not need that money. You don't got some school debt to pay off? Some medical school debt? Oh boy. I hate to rag on him, but who even does the champagne trick anymore? Has anybody ever been proposed to with a ring in the bottom of a champagne glass? I mean, maybe a while ago, but it just seems, again, it's sort of a trope, right? It's sort of a TV trope. I would choke on it knowing my luck. Oh, well, Ashley's the one that finds the ring. And of course, she has to confront him. Frankly, I think that Ashley has every right to confront Stitch. My concern is not so much about does Ashley still have feelings for Stitch? And it's not even as much, does Stitch still have feelings for Ashley? To me, it just is more like, it's not normal for the groom to have slept with the mother of the bride. And furthermore, he was not sure about the relationship a couple of months ago. And now all of a sudden he wants to marry her. It seems a little quick to me. I mean, it could not have been a month or 2 months before where he basically told Ashley, I can't get you off of my mind. Ashley was trying to move on. Like, okay, he's involved with my daughter. I need to back away, obviously, regardless of my feelings. But he was the one that approached her. So it feels to me like maybe Stitch is trying to cover up the feelings that he has for Ashley by marrying Abby. I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, he ultimately passed Ashley's test after she confronted him. And I mean, I will admit that the proposal was cute. Abby was all worried about Adam, and she was in the chapel at the hospital, and it's sort of, they both had this realization of life being short and precious, and that they love each other, and it's important to just be together. And he gets down on one knee and proposes to her in the chapel. And I mean, I don't know, the whole thing, like just the look on Stitch's sweet little face made me think, this cannot last. There's just no way. He's too happy. This is too happy. But then I'm hearing that the actor is actually renewing his contract. He's not going to get blown to bits during November sweeps, and that there will be a wedding. So, I guess, again, my question to you, and please comment on this for me for this week, because I need clarification. Is Y&R forcing this couple to work, or do they really work for you? Oh man, Chloe. It wasn't, like, at the beginning of the week, I didn't, first of all, I am surprised that Y&R revealed Chloe as the driver of the car this quickly. But I thought this was going to be a big cliffhanger. I honestly thought we were entering into a who ran over Adam month-long storyline that was somehow going to lead to him getting out of jail. And by Tuesday's show, Y&R revealed that apparently it was Chloe's boots on the pedal. I wasn't expecting that. And furthermore, it's like I thought maybe Chloe coming back would be over the top. I didn't know it was gonna take my heart, rip it out of its chest, rip it up into a million different pieces and throw it on the floor and squash it with a boot. I wasn't expecting that. I thought, oh, she got a big floppy hat. This is maybe gonna be a little bit interesting, a little bit funny. Everybody look out. Chloe's on guard. She goes to the underground. She finds Mariah there alone, and she's asking Mariah to call Kevin because she needs help, because we're starting to realize as the audience at this point that she is the one that did it. And Mariah is understandably reticent, doesn't really know how to help her, if she should help her, if she should call Kevin. She agrees to call Kevin, and while she's on the phone with him, or just after she hangs up the phone, Chloe smashes Mariah over the head with a bottle, says, you tipped him off, you bitch, and she leaves. Like, whoa! I mean, it was so, even at that point in the story, I'm like, I cannot believe that Chloe would do it. I mean, it makes sense. Again, I thought, well, it would be the easy answer that Chloe would have been the one to run him over, to run Adam over, and I just wasn't expecting the easy answer. I wasn't expecting for it to take such a deep, dark turn, although why wouldn't I? I mean, the whole Delia thing has been deep and dark. I don't know. She goes, oh my gosh, the thing, again, that really got me was Esther. I'm all about Esther for the last 2 weeks. Chloe goes to the coffee house where she finds Esther, and she's extra desperate. She is just looking for somebody to help bail her out of this mess that she just got herself into. She thought she was going to kill Adam, and now it's almost if she is in more trouble. I mean, didn't she have a follow-up plan? She's in more trouble now that he's not dead, and apparently a bunch of people saw her or saw the car and got her on tape. This was not a well thought out plan. This was a crime of passion, clearly. But she goes to Esther and she starts telling Esther to I need help, Mom. I need money. Just take money. She tells Esther to steal money out of the Crimson Lights cash register to help her get away. Oh, it was heartbreaking, and then starts accusing Esther of never being there for her, which is true, of course. But I mean, the back and forth between mother and daughter, and Esther just feeling guilt-ridden and looking at what has become of her daughter. I mean, to lose her granddaughter and then now to realize that she's really losing her daughter, and because Chloe's losing her mind. It was just insane. And then Chelsea shows up, and Chelsea is realizing, oh my God, you're the one that did it. You're the one that hit Adam. And Chloe has no remorse, none whatsoever. Yeah, I hit him. I should have gone faster. No, Chelsea goes, you're the one that tried to kill Adam. And Chloe goes, yeah, I should have tried harder. Oh my God. She said, you know what? Adam is a terrible person, and at least I tried to stop him. He got 10 years for what he did to my daughter, and I'm the one serving the life sentence. It is so difficult because it's so understandable that she feels the way she feels, yet at the same time, she admitted to Chelsea that she logically understands that it was an accident, that the actual that Delia's death was an accident, and she just seems to keep like blipping in and out of reality. Chelsea tells her, I mean, I did appreciate that Chelsea didn't handle her. She was very direct with her. Chelsea said, we all feel terrible about what happened to Delia, but you need to accept responsibility for your own choices and your own life and the direction of how you pick up the pieces and move your life forward. And by the way, did you forget how you tried to kidnap my child? I don't know what made me think that Chloe would not be crazy, I assume, because all of the evidence was there. She was losing her mind before she left town, and she comes back worse than ever, absolutely worse than ever. And it was so hard to watch, just so heartbreaking on every level, because she seems lucid and then she completely disconnects from reality and doesn't even realize that Delia is dead. She starts telling Chelsea and Esther that she needs to see her daughter, and I'm confused because we as the audience know or suspect that she got pregnant and that she has that at home, or we heard her talking on the phone to some kind of babysitter or something. So I assumed when she said that was her tipping off that she did in fact have the other child and she needs to get back to the other child. But then she blipped back out of reality and started talking about how she needed to get home to Delia. She had to tuck her into bed, and Paul and Kevin show up and they have to escort her out. It's so sad. They walk her out of the building under the guise of, we're gonna drive you home to tuck in Delia, but the reality of the situation is probably that we're driving you to the mental hospital. Ugh. Adam is in the hospital fighting for his life, and just let me tell you, Victor's reaction, his insistence on getting Adam help, on getting Chelsea the ability to see him, Victor going back to Adam's apartment, giving the babysitter a big wad of cash to go away, and then having that private moment with Connor, praying with Connor that Adam would survive. The prayer, it got me. And you want to know why? Because it reminded me of those rare, wonderful gem moments when Catherine Chancellor would sit down and have a prayer / demand of God. I mean, I don't know why. Because it's like, these characters are larger than life. They are bigger than life. And when there's a moment where they are challenged in their own mortality, it just gets me. I mean, Victor is asking a favor of the big father upstairs. It was the Victor that I needed to see all week. Was the Victor that I needed to see. I mean, Y&R, it was if they went down the list of things that would make Allie happy. Checked him off. Because Eric Braeden is not going to be around forever. I don't want him to go away or go off the show or something to happen to him and it's on a negative note. We need to love Victor, Y&R. They need to stop making him the villain and give us more of this. It was amazing. And I'm not saying that I need to see Victor being the best dad in the entire world. It would be boring. But can you imagine a world where Victor and Adam actually got along, even for a few months. Even for a few months, if they started having really honest conversations and maybe started developing an actual closeness. Maybe make Nick and Victor be the rivalry for a while, or Victoria and Victor be the rivalry for a while, and let Adam in. Let him in on that inner circle for just a little bit. I think that would be amazing. Oh my gosh, Victor was so great. And but it's not going to happen because there's later in the week when Adam kind of wakes up from his coma or what, wakes up from his surgery. Victor comes in and Jack, who has been through the ringer with all of this, and Jack has had a lot of wonderful moments of praying for Adam and hoping that he would pull through this. Jack tells Adam, you know, your dad has not always been there for you, but I do want you to know that he's been moving heaven and earth to try to make sure that you got the best care and that you were able to be with your wife and your son. So, I mean, even Jack tried to broker that relationship, which was very big of Jack and just very, I appreciated that about Jack. And then of course Victor has to say, well, don't give me a backhanded compliment. I don't need a backhanded compliment from you, Jack. And he was modest. Victor was modest about the fact that he was really caring about his son, caring about this outcome, and wanting to force it to turn out in Adam's favor. It was amazing. Amazing! All of the scenes with Chelsea worrying, losing her mind, saying, I've already lost Adam once. I can't lose him again. I mean, going through her process of the back and forth with this relationship, and then him finally waking up, getting through surgery, and the look on her face, the look between them, the communication between them without even saying anything. It was so good. It was so good. But I'm worried. I'm a little worried because I mean, well, for one thing, well, I'll say it like this. Adam said it best. He goes, well, the good news is I'm not dead. The bad news is I'm still going to prison. So I don't know how on earth that's going to get resolved. And that's sort of the reason why I thought that the Who Hit Adam issue would drag out longer than it would, because in my mind, I'm thinking that it's somehow going to be the road to getting him out of prison. But I mean, it's just delaying it by a week. I mean, Christine's practically ready to handcuff him and send him back to jail right now. So I'm surprised again that we're here where we are, and I'm also additionally surprised and maybe a little disappointed at the moment where Adam realizes, I can't feel my legs. Ugh. Man. I mean, the guy's been blind. He's been paralyzed now. Do we really need to do this? And there's this moment where the doctor comes in, and you can tell by the look on the doctor's face that it ain't good, but he tries to say, well, could be an effect of the surgery. And then just only a few moments later, my interpretation of this was that Adam lied to Chelsea, saying that he was able to feel his legs, maybe because he didn't want to see her in pain. I mean, Chelsea's realizing that he could never walk again, or, you know, all of these probably worst case scenarios are going through both of their heads, and all of a sudden Adam just says, oh, you know, I can feel it, good as new. I mean, he kind of plays it all off as if it was nothing. I believe he was lying. Is that the way you guys took it too? You know, I don't know. I thought at various points throughout the week, well, I wonder if somehow Adam's going to be paralyzed. He's going to go to that, whatever this big event will be at the Newman Ballroom. Maybe they will explode him and everyone will assume that he didn't get out because he couldn't walk. But I don't know. I don't know how long this is all going to work out. Again, if he's lying, I guess I suppose maybe the reason, maybe it's not going to be a long-term thing. Maybe the reason why Adam is lying in the bed, and we know, presumably, that he can't feel his legs, that he can't walk, that he's got this paralysis. Maybe that is so that we as the, it's just so that people will assume that he is the devil at Newman Enterprises wreaking all of this havoc. Right? Because if Adam was able to use his legs, wouldn't people just assume that he was the one following through with this Paragon plan? But I think that the fact that he's paralyzed and in bed helps the audience realize that it can't be him. So Billy decided to pull the plug on this whole Paragon plan, like picking up the pieces of Newman Enterprises just in time for the Paragon to start attacking Jabot. I don't know how this virus works. I don't know. I'm not sure, like, it is the whole thing that's going on with the devil at Newman Enterprises connected to the Paragon project. I'm confused. I was very, very relieved, though, to see the top of the tower. I mean, I think that's kind of cool that there was a ballroom. Who knew there was a ballroom at the top of Newman Tower all of this time, but Victor just had it closed for some reason, and he decides to open it up for the Delia Foundation to host a Halloween event, and Phyllis and Nikki decorated it. That's all made me very happy. I liked seeing all of the beautiful decorations. It looked a lot like the dive bar. Maybe it was just an association in my mind, but to me it kind of had the dive bar feeling. Maybe because I was associating it with the top, and we know that the dive bar is on the roof of the athletic club. I don't know, but I thought everything looked wonderful. I loved seeing Phyllis and Nikki decorating it as we're seeing these black gloved hands typing away on computer screens and opening up electrical boxes, and we know that something's gonna happen, and it's just like I don't know, are we looking at two different people? Is this the same person? So Paragon is like, what, with the gloved hands opened up some sort of program that hacked the Newman security system. So maybe that's what it was about, like hacking the security system so that the person could get into the electrical box and set fire to everything. So at the very end of Friday's show, we saw this fire blazing out of this electrical box and very quickly spreading out the door. It reminds me of, didn't somebody go, yeah, I think at the ranch, somebody, shoot, who was it, went into their electrical room and did something that was gonna catch the box on fire or something. We're bringing on a lot of soap opera tropes. That is I think the theme of the week is, maybe the theme of the week is we've seen it before, but that's okay. Every time is fresh. So, okay, who is it? I mean, I hesitate to even ask the question, who's the devil? Because by Tuesday's show, it could all be revealed. But it's Sunday now, so if you want to get your guess in on Sunday before we know, or if you're in Canada, you probably already know, or if you've seen the day ahead shows, let me know who you think the devil is. I don't know why you would want to be so obvious. I don't know why you would want to dress so obvious. I would think if you were actually going to go into a company, even at a masquerade ball, and do something bad, wouldn't you want to maybe dress like a fairy or something a little more harmless? I don't know why it would need to be so ominous. But I mean, we're seeing this masked devil guy. I'm assuming it's the same person with the gloved hands. I don't know who it is. Whoever it is looked really, really tall. I will say that if Adam hadn't been in that bed, he is very tall. And I would think that maybe, possibly it would be him, although I don't know. I absolutely 100% don't think it's Adam. But I also I don't think it's like Ian Ward either. Ian Ward's this short little old man. There's certain that can't be him. I mean, then again, you never know. I mean, it could be an extra walking around with that devil costume on, and then 4 months from now they show a flashback scene of Ian pulling the mask off and revealing that it was him. So who knows? You guys are gonna have to let me know who you think it is. I'm kind of. There's just a part of me, I keep thinking back to this whole somebody's gonna die, 4 people are gonna die. Is it a little early though for November sweeps? Is it a little early for this to really erupt into like 4 people dying in one fell swoop? I almost kind of wonder if maybe the point of this fire is more about drama than it is about someone's death. And you know I'm going to have to comment on the Halloween fashion. All of the costumes. I love Halloween at YNR. I'm always a little disappointed if YNR doesn't do some kind of Halloween show, and they certainly did not disappoint me this year. I just think it's so fun. It's such a good opportunity to pull us out of the drama or maybe spin the drama in a different way. So I love seeing everybody dressed up, and you know I got to pick my best and my worst costumes. Although I don't know that I really have a worst costume. I think that the best costume was hands down Lily. I mean, Lily looked amazing all week. Her fashion all week looked so good in that black and white dress earlier, and then she switches into her Cleopatra costume, and she was just so beautiful and so perfect. The makeup was gorgeous. It just worked. The whole thing just worked. I laughed a little bit at Joe showing up also as a devil. Again, I think that's kind of a red herring. I think we're supposed to think that it's Joe, and it's not really. They had similar costumes, but not identical costumes. I think there are 2 devils in the building. One of them is the bad devil, and I think Joe is just kind of like he's his own. Joe is basically just a sexy devil, which made me laugh because I'm like, why not? He's that every day. That even costume. He's a sexy devil Monday through Friday. I don't want him to die, but he probably will. Thanks. Let's talk about the rest of the costumes. I was absolutely giggling at the screen when Jack and Victor came out, and there was a little preview of Jack and Victor at the hospital. Jack telling Victor that I'm gotta go put my costume on for this party. You know, I might find out that it really scares you. Or it was just a cute between them. Jack looked weird as a vampire. It was weird seeing Jack with the fangs and the blood coming out of his mouth. The outfit looked great, but there was something a little shocking about it. Maybe I should switch it, because maybe Lily shouldn't be my favorite Halloween costume. Maybe it should have been Victor, because Victor could not be bothered. Victor was like tuxedo, mask, done. There's a part of me that's imagining that Eric Braeden was probably like, costume, no thanks, pass, plop, putting on a mask and done. My other question here is, what the hell was Ashley? I mean, I was so confused. She showed up, as soon as she turned around to reveal herself, I'm like, gosh, she looks beautiful. I mean, basically, Ashley was just extra sexy for Halloween. It was kind of a period look. She had on the white dress, and her hair sort of had this little sort of like side wave. Like, I don't know what era it would have been, but she looked like kind of a throwback, but it didn't really strike me as being a Halloween costume. Now, Phyllis was wearing a Halloween costume. I almost didn't even recognize Phyllis. As soon as she came onto my screen, I had a moment where I thought, who is that? And it was Phyllis. Long black wig. I thought the little spider on top of her head was so cute. She was a black widow or a spider, but it was almost like there was just this little puff of black fuzz or fur for her hat, and then the legs came down as a hat and covered her. They might have probably got that on Etsy or something. It was so cute though. I loved it. I mean, but without the spider hat, she would have just looked like Elvira. She had like the bustier or something. There was a lot of boobs going on. I thought she looked really great though. And I loved Nikki as Mae West. That was adorable. And she got into it. You could tell Melody Thomas kind of got into it. And actually, Nikki was a lot of fun this week. I enjoyed seeing her moving her way through Genoa City, being cute, being sassy. I thought she looked great. Nick's costume was kind of, I guess it fit him. He was a knight. He needed to, I assume he was a knight. I don't know. He had a sword. He looked all right. I mean, it probably could have been a little bit better. But it was, you know, it's just fun to see them wearing something else. I enjoyed Mariah's steampunk outfit. I think YNR was picking up on that trend maybe like 4 years too late, but she looked good. She had a lot of stuff on. Again, they probably picked all that up on Etsy too. What did you guys think of Abby's flapper? I thought she looked beautiful. I loved the stole, the kind of white fuzzy stole that she had on. Certainly she was the most elegant flapper that ever was. Sporting her new diamond engagement ring. I think that's it. I can't think of anybody else. I can't say there's a worse dress. I mean, I guess I'd have to pick, like, I don't know. I mean, I just didn't get Ashley's outfit. I didn't get her costume. She looked beautiful, but I didn't get costume out of it. I don't know. It's hard for me to pick a worst because I thought everybody looked pretty good. But I know you guys are gonna have no problem telling me who your best and worst Halloween costumes were this year. So let's make that the poll question for this week. So yrchat.com, go and tell me who your best and worst Halloween costumes were this week. You know I had to talk about this Halloween fashion, and I know you guys want to tell me. So who was the best costume? Who was the worst costume? yrchat.com. Money through the door, reason out the window. That was last week's Who Said It quote. Quite a few of you got it right. The answer was Paul. He was saying it in reference to the Kane and Colin and the stealing of the money. Phaedra, Lindy, Victoria, Michelle all got it right. Let's see if you guys can do it 2 weeks in a row. The Who Said It quote for this week will be, too much of a good thing can be wonderful. Who said it? From Monday through Friday's US show, one person said this quote, and if you watch the show very, very closely, perhaps you know who it was. Too much of a good thing can be wonderful. Go to yrchat.com, you can leave your guess, and if you get it right, I will give you your props during next week's YNR chat. You know, it seems like every sweep season there's this revolving door with characters. It seems like less likely that characters stick around these days. We've got a few casting updates, and it just seems like with the whole sweeps reveal, we're gonna lose some and maybe gain some. I did read that Lachlan Buchanan, who plays Kyle, has been reduced to a recurring role. So apparently the whole thing with Summer, that little romance didn't quite pan out the way we thought it was going to. And Fox Rocks B on Twitter informed me that Daytime Confidential is reporting that Burgess Jenkins is out as Billy, which I'm so sad about. I really like Burgess Jenkins' version of Billy. I think he works really well with Amelia Heinel's Victoria. I'm so happy to see them together finally, and I'm sad to think that it's gonna all be blown apart. Fox Roxby was also saying, well, in the article it was saying that Jason Thompson from General Hospital might be the one to take his place, that's sort of the rumor. Again, this is rumor. I don't think anything has been confirmed. Maybe you guys know if we have a confirmation on that by the time this is all said and done, but I don't know who Jason Thompson is. I looked him up and he didn't look familiar to me. The guy is certainly hot, but he doesn't give me a Billy vibe. I mean, Billy's kind of like lovable and sort of playful, and I would think that maybe if anybody was that they were gonna do that they would. I mean, we've gone through how many Billys? Just within the last year, we've had Billy Miller, we had David Tom and then Burgess, and now they're going to switch out and give us another Billy in such a short time frame. If they were going to bother recasting, is Burgess really that bad? Is Burgess's Billy really that much worse than this Abby? I'm sorry, but I mean, enough to where you have to go to the trouble of recasting him when, oh yeah, I don't know, I don't know. And by the way, the Jason Thompson thing almost seems like, just from looking at him, that he would be more like a potential Adam. I don't know. James on Facebook also did post a link to a confirmed article that Tristan Rogers, Colin, is going back to General Hospital, which is sad for me because I also really like Colin, but it's good news for General Hospital fans, just sad news for Allie. It's kind of funny, Anna left me a voicemail who says, who's gonna die in this fire? None of the people I chose were even there at the party. So I think as viewers, we're anticipating that somebody's gonna die, and again, I thought it was gonna be Adam, I thought it would be Stitch, I thought maybe it would be Dylan, and well, we talked about a couple different people, Colin, but none of those people are even at the party. So that's why I'm almost thinking that maybe the fire is a drama thing, but maybe somehow, who knows, maybe any of them could probably run in there and die trying to save somebody who's at the party. I have no idea, because it's kind of, I'm feeling like Joe's doomed. Gary left me a voicemail that said, I am enjoying the Adam story and I'm happy to see it be center stage, at least for right now, because I'm not looking forward for all of the action to switch back to Sharon and company. I'd like to put that off as long as possible. I didn't have a chance to mention elsewhere about Sage and Nick. Their baby is dicey. There was a situation this week where the baby stopped breathing and they were able to save the baby for now, but I mean, I'm guessing that Sage and Nick are going to somehow assume that their baby died and the evil doctor is going to take that baby and give it to Sharon. And I agree, Gary, I don't want to see it. I don't think anybody's really looking forward to this. There seems to be a general sense of dread over it. Although, by the way, I did enjoy seeing Victor comforting Nick when that happened, and Nikki comforting Sage. There's definitely been some good meat that's come out of it so far, but the leap, what we know is coming, it's just, I hope not. James on Facebook also said, just to put Sharon's pregnancy into perspective, it was revealed on the June 23rd show that she was pregnant. So she'd be in her 4th month of pregnancy right now. The light bulb should be going off in Dylan's head right about now. Agreed. That's another thing why I'm thinking, is there any chance that maybe, do we know anything about the guy who plays Dylan's contract status? Like, is he going to be maybe so upset about all of this that happened that he's going to go off the show? Like, he's been kind of more or less quiet over the last couple weeks as far as the Sharon story is going. So I don't know. Julie left a comment at yrchat.com saying, this week I've liked Victor more than I ever have before. I've hated him for years before and after he lost his memory, mainly because he's been so one-dimensional, judgmental, and hateful and controlling. But this week, he's finally showing another side. His talk with Connor was sweet. His change of mind and heart with Billy and Jack was so reasonable for Victor. I might actually like Victor for the first time in 20 years. Absolutely love that comment, Julie. There was just something about Victor's whole persona this week. I almost didn't buy it though. I mean, it was too understanding. It was too non-Victor-esque. I mean, I'm watching, especially Victor saying thank you to Jack. Thank you, and I understand your brother didn't hit Adam, and I'm so, I don't even know if he said I'm sorry, but the vibe was all is forgiven. And I mean, it was wonderful, but there was a part of me that kept thinking, this can't be real. This can't possibly last very long. I mean, the nature of Victor and Jack's relationship specifically is that they will always be bickering. But you know, there's something about Jack versus Victor's rivalry that's always been, I don't know, to me, it's a little more light-hearted as opposed to the Victor versus Adam feud, which is so deeply rooted that and it's darker somehow. So I'd rather see Victor lighten up on the Adam relationship. I kind of like Victor and Jack bickering, and I kind of like Victor and Billy bickering a little bit too. I mean, it makes sense to me that Victor doesn't like Billy being married to his daughter, but yeah, YNR needed to pull it back, and they did, and I agree, Julie. I was so happy with Victor this past week. BX Girl HS on YouTube says, I think Adam is going to get off serving his sentence because of prison overcrowding and by performing some heroic action that will get him community service or a pardon or something. That could be another thing. Maybe Adam will run into the burning building, save all of the children. I mean, because you notice that during the fire, all of the adults are upstairs, all of the children are sequestered in one area. You know somebody's got to go save the children. Save the children. Maybe it'll be Adam. Maybe that'll be, I mean, who knows? Maybe he'll crawl. Maybe he'll do his legs don't work. He's out of the wheelchair. He's using his arms to do a military crawl to save all, like, 8 of the children that are in the Newman Tower. And then Christine will turn around and still throw the book at him. Connor called into my voicemail and said, seeing Chloe spaz out on her mother like that was just uncomfortable, but it is a reminder that she needs serious professional help. I didn't want the person driving the car to end up being Chloe. It's just too easy. It sums up exactly how I feel too. Yeah, it got serious, right? The Chloe thing got real serious. Jillian sent an email saying, didn't you see when Chloe ran over Adam with her car that there was a police officer giving her a signal to drive forward? I didn't notice that. I do remember that scene, and I interpreted that as the police officer giving Adam and the other officer that was holding him the signal to move forward and move through the crosswalk, because it was like Adam on one side of the crosswalk and the paddy wagon on the other, and my interpretation was that the police officer was surveying the scene, and then when it was okay, he was given the okay for Adam to cross into the crosswalk, but Jillian is interpreting it as the police officer telling Chloe to move forward, as if there was someone on the inside. So you guys will have to let me know how you interpreted that scene. Daisy on Facebook says, I can't imagine that Chloe would hit Adam and leave her daughter without a mother. Does Chloe actually have a second daughter? We did see her pregnant way back when, but she could have worn a pad, not to delude other people, but to delude herself. Yeah, I'm wondering that too. Was Chloe ever even really pregnant, or was this a disconnect out of reality that we interpreted as her being pregnant? I really want to know the answer to that, but I'm kind of feeling like maybe Elizabeth Heinrichsen is done. I even saw this little Twitter update where she was like, that was fun, thanks guys. I didn't get the impression that she's going to be around for a long term, and the way they escorted her out of Crimson Lights sort of did have a okay cuckoo kind of goodbye now vibe about it. Daisy also says maybe someone is above Ian in this Paragon project, someone who hates the Newmans and the Abbotts even more than Ian does. And then Robert on Facebook says, Allie, I believe that Sheila Carter is really the architect of the Paragon project. It hit Fenmore's really hard. Maybe Newman Enterprises and Jabot were just a red herring to get to Lauren's empire. As soon as it hit Fenmore's, I said to myself, yep, that is Sheila. That's kind of the vibe I'm getting to, because I mean I've seen all the little teasers that Robert's posted that indicate that maybe the actress who plays Sheila is coming back, and I mean I've been hearing that rumor for the past couple of months, and I can't think of anyone more insidious than Sheila. She's probably one of the only people who could probably top Ian Ward. So I think that's a very real possibility, because it's I mean, yes, Ian can come and go out of prison. So we've certainly got that potential that he could be behind the Paragon project. He could be behind the fire, absolutely. But there is that seed of doubt in my mind too, as we're seeing that Fenmore's is being affected. So maybe, you know, anything that happened with Lauren's business is actually Sheila, and maybe we're kind of getting into the possibility that Sheila's coming back. Daisy on Facebook says, there's so many good comments here, because Daisy always thinks of things I can't even think of. Daisy says, what's strange or stranger is that in the park, Hilary tried to get help from a stranger, but ran away from Kane. That didn't make any sense unless Kane's twin brother is alive and was the person who set up Kane. Yeah, I think that the Paragon thing, if the Sheila thing is true, then that sort of explains away Kane's involvement in whatever happened to Fenmore's in that $1 million glitch or whatever it is. And it does kind of seem like if somebody is framing Kane, it does seem to have a connection with money in some way. And I'm kind of wondering that too, if there's any chance that instead of it's as simple as Kane being set up by Joe or who knows, somebody, if there's any chance that his twin really is still alive, or that shoot, it's been his twin all along. L. Lewis on YouTube says, I hate how they're writing the Kane story unless he's Caleb. That's the only story that works. I'm kind of wondering. And with Colin's death, is there any, I'm sorry, that's totally, I shouldn't say that. With Colin leaving the show, I wonder if there's any way that they're going to tie that in with the revelation of the other twin brother. I'm not sure. This made me laugh, though. I'm going to end on Bobby's zinger for the week. She says, oh my gosh, Hilary is wearing nail polish on her well-manicured fingers. That I laughed about that because I noticed the same thing. The very first scene where they revealed that Hilary was back was a shot of her hands, and it almost seemed like they looked a little chipped. Like maybe I kept thinking, like, did they give her a manicure and then maybe chip away a couple little pieces of it? Because she's been in a coma for months. Her makeup is perfect, hair is perfect, fingernails are perfectly well manicured. Well, it is time for the next big Genoa City soap reveal. If you guys just started listening or watching, or you've missed the past couple of weeks, I have been making a series of 8 Young and the Restless inspired soaps. Soap for soap fans. I have created these bars to represent 8 of the characters on the show, and I am revealing 2 of them to you per week, and then at the end of the big reveal we're going to do a giveaway. So this week's reveal are the Jack and Phyllis bars. I'm really proud of these. I think the way they look is kind of cool, but I also think that the fragrances are yummy and very representative of the characters. So I'll start with Phyllis here. This was a red bar, of course. Of course I was going to make Phyllis nice and red. And I made the scent spicy. It's a very exotic type of fragrance. It is spice, it is sandalwood, it is sweet orange. It just has kind of a alluring fragrance about it. I think it's a really pretty bar. It's gonna feel real good in the shower, and I contrasted Phyllis's bar with Jack as a sweet fragrance. So since Jack is Mr. Sentimental, I wanted to make him a sweet caramel fragrance. So I've got, it's a kind of a brown and white bar, but it's also got, it's vanilla-y, caramelly, and it's got some really nice woody notes in it too. So the brown and the white, I think, go really well together. This is probably one of my 2 favorite fragrances that I've done in this series. It just smells so, it's so delicious. I want to like bite it, but it's a bad idea to bite it. But it's not just straight up sweet. It's also got a little bit of spice, a little bit of woodiness in there. So this is a really good bar. I think you guys are gonna want it. Jack and Phyllis, somebody could win them. So I decided that we're going to have 2 more soaps that need to be revealed next week. And then the week after that, we'll do 2 weeks of entries to win the soap. And if you win, you will get to pick which one in this whole series that you want to have. So I've done Victor, Nikki. Last week I revealed Paul and Christine. Now we've got Jack and Phyllis. Next week we have 2 more that I'll reveal, and then 2 weeks of entries, and then on November 29th I will do a big giveaway and announce who the winner is. So be sure to check back next week to find out who the next 2 soaps are. You can also subscribe to the channel that I created on YouTube with videos that show the making of these soaps. I talk a little bit about the inspiration behind these soaps and the characters who they're based on. The channel is called Genoa City Soap, and you can find it in the description here. I'll put a link to it, or you can go to yrchat.com to see photos of these 2 soaps and all of the links to YouTube and Facebook and Twitter, where I've been updating and just talking a little bit about my little side hobby if you're interested. And again, next week there'll be 2 more reveals, and then on the 29th we will do a giveaway where you could win. Okay, that does it for me for this week. What do you guys think? Who's the Red Devil? Who's the best and worst Halloween costume? Are you feeling Abby and Stitch? So many questions. You can leave me a comment in about a million different places. I read every single comment. I listen to every single voicemail. You can call into that voicemail at area code 309-588-4569. You can say your piece. Or you can go to yrchat.com, leave a comment on the blog, vote in the polls, leave me all of your feedback, see photos, connect with me on Facebook and Twitter, and you can also leave messages there. I love hearing from you. You guys give me a really good perspective on the show, and in general, you completely enhance my viewing experience. So if I haven't said it lately, thank you. I really do appreciate you, and I love hearing from you. So I hope everybody has a really good week, and we will be back next Sunday as always to reveal 2 new soaps and to talk about our favorite soap. I love you guys. Have a good one. Bye.